Shrubs, also known as drinking vinegars, when made the right way, are extremely tasty. They make powerful cocktail ingredients and a wonderful alternative for simple mocktails. Today I'm gonna share my favorite tips to make the best one ever, and we're gonna pair this with a tasty drink. So if you guys are ready, let's make some shrubs together right now. Back in the 17th century, making shrubs was a method used to preserve fruits. For me, it's just a funny word to say pickled fruit juice, because they're made out of fruit, vinegar, and sugar. I was not there in the 17th century, obviously, but I assumed that they were putting big chunks of fruit in that sweet and sour brine in order to eat the fruits when they were off season. They probably soon realized that the juice itself, the brine, was packed with the fruit flavor, and they started to drink that with water for a tasty and refreshing beverage. It stopped being fashionable over time, but it regained a lot of popularity with the cocktail renaissance about 15 years ago. When made the right way, as I said, they are extremely tasty, but there's a couple of things, literally 2 things to remember to make the best ones ever. I'm gonna share those tips a little later in the video when we're gonna make the shrub itself, but right now I would like to start with this cocktail I shared on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I only shared the picture and the ingredients, but not the recipe, and I received a lot of requests for the recipes of both the shrub and the cocktail itself. So we're gonna make them both today, and I thought, why not doing the other way around this week? We're gonna start with the cocktail, then we're gonna move on to the shrub and the little tips. So if you guys are ready for the ingredients of the cocktail, we're gonna need some Old Time gin, strawberry shrub, maple syrup, fresh basil, lime juice, and sparkling water. You can absolutely make this cocktail with your favorite London Dry. If you don't have Old Time, that's not a problem, but I personally feel that the little extra sweetness in the Old Time gin really helps to balance the acidity of the shrub to make a better cocktail. That being said, you can use London Dry if you want. That's also gonna make a tasty drink. Now, let's build. In our shaker, we're gonna start with 2 ounces of Old Time, half an ounce of strawberry shrub, 1/4 ounce of maple syrup, 1 full ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice, and a good amount of fresh basil. For me, that's about 6 large leaves. Then we're gonna fill our shaker with ice and give it a good shake for about 10 seconds. Then we're gonna fine strain it in an eyeball glass filled up with ice. Tap it with about 2 ounces of sparkling water. You can give it a brief stir to make sure it's all well mixed. And we're gonna garnish this with a generous basil bouquet. And there you have it, the SMB. Now, let's give it a try. Cheers. The first thing we get up front in this drink is the beautiful botanicals from the gin and the strawberry flavors. It's like super well blended, like it's making only one, and for me it's a good sign that the cocktail is well balanced. The maple flavor is also there, not overwhelming but present, and by the way, this is a great sugar to pair with strawberries. If you've never tried that before, I guarantee it is exquisite. Now, for me, what's really important to keep in mind when we make a cocktail with shrub is obviously we want to taste the shrub, otherwise what would be the point, right? But at the same time, drinking vinegar for a lot of people is not natural. Worst yet, oftentimes it means that something is bad. When we think of champagne or wine, for example, oftentimes we're gonna say that it's vinegary instead of saying it's not good. So how can we justify putting some vinegar in our cocktails? How can we make it tasty? How can we make it natural and intuitive and not having the feeling that we're drinking something that turned bad? That's when my 2 tips come in very handy. The first tip is the choice of vinegar. That's the most important thing. If you use bad vinegar, or if you use a vinegar that's too strong, your shrub's gonna taste like crap. So to make the right choice, all you have to think about is the fruit that you're gonna use to make your shrub. In my case today, I'm using strawberries. What is a good vinegar to pair with strawberries? balsamic vinegar. So I'm using white balsamic vinegar to make my shrub, and the result is so much better than if I would use like a plain vinegar. Then if you're making an apple or a pear shrub, use a cider vinegar. That's such a perfect pairing. I'm gonna write down my favorite pairing in the description, so feel free to use that for your own experiments, but really use your knowledge, your palate to make your pairing for the best match. Then also, what's super important is the sugar. In my shrub today, I'm using maple sugar because it just pairs so well with strawberries. But then, just to take the same example as before, if you're making apple or pear shrub, you can absolutely use the demerara sugar or turbinado sugar, something that's rounder, that has more body, or you can use honey. That's gonna make two completely different shrubs simply by swapping the sugar. And this is a great way to make better shrubs. So that's it. Those are my 2 tips to make the best shrubs ever. Now that you know it, let's make my recipe. What you're gonna need is 250 grams of fruit and 125 grams of both vinegar and sugar. First, you're gonna cut your fruit in small pieces. That's just gonna make more surface exposed for the sugar to go and extract all the flavor. Then I'm gonna throw that with the sugar in a sous vide bag. If you don't have a sous vide machine, you can use a seal-tight glass container. I simply feel that a sous vide bag makes a faster and stronger extraction. Next, you're gonna seal your bag and simply leave that resting at room temperature for 24 hours. After 24 hours, the sugar is gonna be completely dissolved and the fruits will have released a lot of juice and flavors. At this point, it's time to filter it. I like to use a nut milk bag or a couple of layers of cheesecloth, so that way I can squeeze the fruits to extract really as much liquid as possible. Then you simply throw your vinegar in there, give it a quick stir, bottle it up, and this is how we make, in this case, my maple and strawberry shrub. As I said, this is a great ingredient for mocktails. All you have to do is to pour about an ounce of the shrub over ice, fill your glass all the way up with soda water, and as easy as that, you have yourself a delicious, tasty, and refreshing cocktail with only 2 ingredients, so love it. So remember what I told you to make the best shrubs ever. 2 parts of fruit, 1 part of sugar, 1 part of vinegar by weight, and always choose a vinegar and a sugar that's gonna pair well and enhance the flavors of your fruit. That way, you're gonna nail it every time. So my friends, this is it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, to turn that bell if you want to make sure not to miss the next one. Until then, thank you very much again. Have a great day and see you very soon. Cheers.